Good evening and welcome along to the track that is the home race for most of our drivers here tonight. Britain, England, as they would say. But it's round 6. The second half of the season starts and gets underway tonight. I'm your commentator, Ryan Searles, and I have been for the last year now in Tier 2. It's good to have you all join us, whether it's through the Twitch chat, through each live stream, racing each week, wherever it may be and whatever it may be. But soon, in about a few minutes, I will be having our co-com, George Alp-Williams, join us. He won yesterday in Tier 3 at Baku. That was a chaotic race. That was full of a few safety cars, front wings going missing, chaos, a driver getting their first podium. But it also was George getting 4 wins in a row. We'll find out tonight if JTK can keep the winning up. And that would be great for him. But will we avoid the chaos? Will we avoid the constant safety cars? Gosh, I hope so. I would really love if we could. But JTK is looking for 2 wins in a row, looking to extend the championship lead as well. There's a lot of things that can happen tonight, and we'll get through those in a little bit of time here. But in the meantime, we're going to get George Alp-Williams, the co-com for tonight's event, in here. But yes, as we were saying, the standings, you have JTK leading over John, then you have Ferrari leading over Red Bull. Lots have changed here in RPL Season 13 Tier 2. Compared to last season, JTK is leading at this point in the championship, and that's exactly what he needs. George Alp-Williams, welcome along. Good to have you. And for those who don't know, he is a 5-time Tier 2 winner and a 22-time podium sitter. And actually, the first British Grand Prix I commentated in Tier 2, you won that one. So you have a lot of experience around the circuit, George.
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, I think it's my joint first or second most successful track, maybe. But it's not hard, let's be honest.
Here's well in Tier 3 too.
I've not got much success. Yeah,
but you won here in Tier 3 as well, so that's always good to look back at too. But
yippee.
Yep. JTK leads the championship tonight. John is back after last week having a wheel issue. What are we expecting here for the championship scenario here for first and second?
I don't reckon there's single cars finishing the race. No, I don't know. I don't know. I think JTK is pretty much walking away with it at this point. I think he's got a big enough gap where he doesn't even need to win races or just get on the podium. He can just get consistent top 5s and he'll walk away with it. It's all on John basically. So I think JTK can just relax, and I think as a result he's only going to get better. So I think
George, no driver tonight will be able to relax. It is raining in the race, apparently.
Oh, no.
So it says late rain with damp conditions. So it looks like whatever happens, we'll probably see the intermediate tires used. We don't know when that rain ends because we have it on perfect weather than rather approximate with the percentage. So we'll have to see. Well, we'll find out just as much as the drivers will probably. They'll be engineering to mark throughout the event. But it's a dry qualifying though. We do know that. It is cloudy, but it is a dry qualifying.
This game is pretty gross as well for weather, the changeover periods.
Yeah, I agree with that. So time to go through our headlines for tonight's event. We have some drivers who got in trouble last week. And last week in Spa, just to remind folks, it was JTK winning, Blonde back on the podium for the first time in multiple seasons of Tier 2, and C. Davies on the podium for Aston Martin the first time. It was also Aston Martin's first podium as well in 3 seasons of Tier 2. So for Tier 2, we don't have any qualifying bans or race bans to serve at all. But we do have some drivers either making debuts, returns, whatever it may be. Let's go over that now. Polish Hammer is in here for Sauber. He drove in the Tier 3 race last night for Sauber. Had a good race going until an incident happened with him and a Williams driver. JNT Gaming is back in Tier 2. He has stepped down, but also he's in the Ferrari because Dill JG has given up his spot and has retired from league racing. You always hear that term as well. I hate it, but if he's going through with it, we wish him the best. With that being said, it's Wooda. Wow. It's Wooda in the Sauber. I believe this is his debut as well. I've not seen him here. but he is racing for the first time. Mintucky is back. She's in Red Bull this time. We have Lyral Fusion, who raced in the Ferrari last week, got called up back in the Haas. John missed last week. He's in the McLaren. Blonde in the Williams. Blonde was signed to this car just a few weeks ago from the Ferrari Academy. He is now here full-time and racing this week in this car. He was at Mercedes last week, filling up for a higher opportunity that was available. Sam Gino back this week as well. Missed before. Kipu, for the remainder of the season, is at McLaren full-time, and he'll get the opportunity before going back down to Alpine, it looks like, next season. I hear a lot of rumors about him looking around for other places because of that, feeling like he got messed up from the Alpine Academy, getting his chance in the car, now going back down. And lastly, Jake Bandy, who is a full-time Tier 3 driver, reserving in the Alpine. Lots of storylines for sure, George. I'm sure there's some I'm missing, but one that we're not missing for sure is the fact that John, after wheel issues last week, hoping he got it fixed, he's on track. He's going through a lap, now going down the back straight all the way to Sector 2. Take us through it.
Sorry, I'm answering questions in Discord a second.
Sounds good. I will, in the meantime, I will go through John's lap, then give it to you when you're ready. But he's now going through Lovefield, Brooklands, and now toward the Old Start finish straight into Cops Corner, where Max Verstappen, as everyone knows, got spun out there in the 2021 Grand Prix. In fact, we saw some overtakes here in previous Grand Prix. One in 2019 with Lando Norris and Ricciardo. One with Leclerc and Hamilton. Now you go to Maggots and Beckett's. Famous corners here for the drivers. Finding some way to negotiate through here and not mess up. It's a little bit different compared to last game with Maggots and Beckett's. Remember, ERS, you got to be careful of. By this last sector, John's going to be on 20% as we enter Stowe. Now going through the chicane, we have just a few more corners to go. Him and Ardell will be the first drivers to complete laps on our timing charts. Ardell is a 27.3. John is a 26.4. That is 0.8 better. We'll have a Mercedes also cross the line. That is RPL Jordan using all his deployment. 0.6 down on the lap. We'll have other drivers continue to cross the line and either complete laps or start laps. Polish Hammer is out in the pit lane. This is because he may have had a qualifying ban to serve after being put in the lineups late. Jake Bandy, Robin, and Blonde all cross the line. They are the slowest of those drivers who have just crossed the start-finish line. Mintucky back out on track for the first time in a few weeks. She's in the Red Bull. This is the first track I would say she was in contention for a podium in. Back in this race, season 12, last season, it was a very close fight for pole. We had 6-7 drivers with a 3/10, kind of like Tier 3 last night. But with Mintucky's case, she was one of those drivers up there, and she's up there on the top of the table now once again. Fighting for a podium last season, maybe now going to fight for a win this season in a better car. But anyways, we have AMS Martinez crossing the line for V-Carb, going fourth fastest. We have C. Davies set to complete a lap. JTK is still in the pit lane. Same with JNT Gaming, Polo God, Sam Gino, and Kibu. Lots of good drivers still not going out on track.
Right, I'm back. Excuse me. Sorry.
Welcome back. You're all good. You're all good. Ardell mentioning in chat, which I was already aware of mentioning, but thank you for the reminder. Rain in the race, if you're not aware of already, for the 12 viewers here. Goggy says, what's up? Heading back. No, healing because you're bored. Okay.
What the fuck?
Yapping. Oh, yapping, not healing. Okay.
What did I just see? One of the Aston Martin, I think it was C. Davis, was going slowly. RB of Martinez drove on the grass to avoid him. On a straight line, there's absolutely no need for it whatsoever.
Oh my god. George, by the way, besides last night, I didn't give you proper congrats, but congrats yesterday on winning Tier 3 once again, 4 in a row. Looking like the championship is going to go your way, it's safe to say.
Maybe, I don't know.
Maybe.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's almost a done deal.
I don't want to jinx it.
I know. If you bottle this would be absolutely terrible.
Yeah, it's cinematic, right?
Yeah. Well, Speaking of bottles, someone who calls himself the Bottle Job from Ireland, Polo God, starting a lap here for Ferrari. This is actually the last circuit he last won at back in F2 in Season 12. So I'm sure he would love to have a good race tonight, especially after crashing 3 times in the race last week at Spa. Using ERS here, a bit unorthodox, but now going on the back straight, you're going to want to see the driver go left here a little bit, slightly off the racing line. And you're aware of this as well, the Tier 3 race that we ran here recently, George. Lots of bumps all the way down to turn 6 and turn 1.
Yeah, weird game. Rubbish game. I shouldn't forget, this is Polo God's home race, as he is Irish, and Ireland is owned by the UK.
Yes, that is very true. Cop's corner now. He'll approach 50% on that battery. Is this where you want to be on the battery, George, or do you want to be a little bit higher? Do you want to be a little lower? How are you feeling with Polo God's battery if you're in his shoes?
I mean, to be fair, he only really needs to use it down the hanger straight. He's not really going to get much of an advantage using it out of the chicane, so, I mean, a little bit low, a bit lower than more ideal, but I don't think he'll lose too much time. So, should be alright.
A few more corners to go through for Polo God to get to the start-finish line. Him and JTK, 2 drivers who have practiced massively for this race, and they're both on laps. The first one to come across the line is Polo God. He goes 3rd fastest behind John and Mentaki, who are fastest. C. Davies, you were talking about him earlier, George, having a bit of issues. He's down in 11th, actually, now as he completes the lap. That is unfortunate for him. JTK crosses, and will it be another pole? No, it won't. He's only on the front row, but it's a Red Bull front row lockout for the time being. That is something I was not expecting to see entering tonight's race. We got Sam Gino crossing the line for Mercedes. We've not seen him in a couple weeks, but he will go 9th fastest. Mercedes seems like they're on the back foot. I would expect them to have a bit of a better car around the circuit for sure. Wavy Knife got Williams' first points of the season last week. He'll cross the line now. Got 1 point in Spa. I think it would have been another point or 2 if it weren't for a post-race penalty, but he'll go 13th fastest. He's not slowest, so I think Wavy has something to be at least proud of for right now.
Good Wavy.
Oh yeah. Kipu on a lap.
So is Ardell. He was getting blocked a little bit by the Red Bull, or was that intentional? I think it was intentional, but however, slipstream through cops is not ideal.
And as Red Fire Tiger tried to join, he has lagged out of the session, and it's retired his car. Kipu crosses the line. He's 5th fastest. George, this is very big for the Constructors race, where Ferrari, Red Bull, and McLaren will be, because now as J&Z Gaming puts it 5th fastest, the top 3 cars in the Constructors are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
That is things you love to see.
Means everyone's going to be on their toes, that's for sure, especially with the rain in the race. Just remember that as well for those of you just joining in. So, George, Mentaki starts a lap. We've not had you cover a lap properly. Take us through it as she's got a V-carb in the way.
What do you want me to say? I don't like doing this, because I'm not good at the game.
Just take us through halfway at least. Get to Sector 2.
She missed the apex a little bit there, but you don't really need to hit the apex too much because the curve spins you. Using quite a lot of battery here. Pulls to the left, as you said, to avoid the bumps. This corner is very hard to get right. You want to brake late, but not too late. It's very easy to lock the front. She did it pretty much perfectly, though. This corner, you can sort of take 2 lines. You can either do a long, wide sweep like she's done, or keep it tight. Kept it all nice, though. Saves a little bit of battery as well. She's going on the cops. This should be an easy flat out. She's got a Alfa Romeo, or Kicksab, whatever they're called now, in the way.
Xbox logo car as well.
Literally, yeah. Go through back to back. This is all basically flat out in qualifying. Just got to use the gears to make sure you don't bog. Does it beautifully. Runs perfectly wide. And here we go down the hanger. She left a lot of battery to give us a proper boostage down the straight. Looks like a very good lap so far. I reckon she'll be in the 25s here.
Yeah, she was up a 10th already in Sector 1. Still up a little bit more, and then wiggled and invalidated. Oh no. Yeah, John, by the way, while we were speaking, put it 2nd fastest. He's 10 thousandths away from Mentaki. Quite incredible right there that the gap is that close right now. See Davies, I think he improved slightly just a bit ago. We have other drivers out on track right now. Kipu's on a lap as well. We'll take it through this, and I'll have you end it this time. So, Now going to the old start finish straight right here, you're going to want to dip to the inside right on that curb. He does put a wheel or two on that curb. Then you're going to go back to the outside. You're not really going to want to shift down here at all. You're going to want to either stay in 7th or 8th. If you shift down, you risk your chances of spinning a lot more right there in that set of corners. Now, Maggots and Beckett's coming through here. 7th, down to 6th, maybe 5th, definitely 5th. You have to go 5th there. Now using a bit of battery. George, he saved up quite a bit of battery just to use it all in the straight. He's got 4/10 that he's gaining on, while Ardell set at 6th fastest. Kipu definitely needs to get himself back in that top 6, where all the other constructors are fighting for the constructors title. Now across the line for Kipu. Blonde set at 7th. Kipu sets at 5th. Massive improvements here on the timing charts as we continue to finish out the session. Kipu, 5th fastest, and 3/10 or less separating that top 5. It's quite a close margin up there. By the way, one of the other drivers we didn't mention too much about, J&T Gaming. Last season's champion, returning to Tier 2. Another champion in this field, Blonde. Who else do we have on laps? I think you're situating the Red Fire Tiger situation, George, so I'm going to continue while you do that, if you don't mind. But yeah. C. Davies has backed off. I don't think there's anybody else on a lap. Blonde was on a cooldown lap. Kipu, the same for him. We have, I think that's a Mercedes coming to get to the line. That's Sam Gino. Oh, he's coming in. We've not talked a lot about Sam Gino. He's had some good races, quite a bit. He almost ran into his Academy teammate entering the pits. But it's good to see him back. He had a good race in Qatar. We've not talked a lot about a lot of drivers like him, Jake Bandy, sometimes even C. Davies. Some of them are newer drivers. We've not got an opportunity to talk about them, but you could really see in this situation, like last week at Spa with C. Davies getting the podium for Aston Martin, these are the drivers we talk about more, the drivers who run up front. We don't always like to single out drivers who are not at the front of the field, but if they're in battles, we focus on them. But if they're doing as well as C. Davies did last week as well, you get a bit more attention at that front of the field with running up front, being in those battles, and being in contention. It was his first podium. By the way, congrats to him, as we said it already. Blonde on the podium as well for Mercedes. Lots of things to look forward to. And by the way, I just want to note one other thing as well that we've not talked a lot about, because it will be talked about tomorrow more so in Tier 1. It's Jake Bandy almost loses it starting his lap. We'll watch him before the other drivers get on track. But as you may have been aware of, for those of you who do Tier 1, John says his second lap was on used softs. That's quite incredible. Just so those of you are aware, before we get to Tier 1, and then we mention it tomorrow, Speed has been and will be disqualified from any results under his old names and new names, Annex, Be Good, Breaking Bad, or even Speed, and Joe Speed. The reason being because when he was banned the first time under Annex, there were a few different reasons for this, mainly being because of cheating. Now, although his files were checked as Speed, as Jake Bandy gets blocked right here, the thing with Speed, although he has got his files checked, and was in the OK, he joined in under an alt account. After issues with F2 in the past with this is extremely a bad situation and one we cannot look past. With that being said, Be Good will be disqualified from 2 Tier 2 races he did back in Season 11. JTK took a podium, I believe, in Texas from it. And I believe as well, Owen actually took another point in his championship season that season. So some things to look out for throughout the next couple of weeks as we re-enter some results. We have drivers cross the line. That was a Haas improving. Jake Bandy will be the next one. Then we'll go to J&T Gaming and look toward our pole position drivers. Jake Bandy goes up to 12th fastest. Not bad from him. J&T Gaming is entering the final couple of corners here. He qualified up front one of these previous seasons. Martinez, again, outperforming his car, but J&T Gaming goes fastest on to pole position once again. And now, with him going to the top, it's time to get your pole predictions in. Who will join him up there? Who will beat him up there? But if no one beats him, it's his 6th pole position, George.
I think Mintoki's going to get pole personally. I think it's going to be a Red Bull front row lockout and then J&T in P3.
Whoa! Collision! J&T Gaming collided with the Red Bull. That was Mintoki. J&T Gaming was trying to get out of the way as Mintoki was trying to set up for Slipstream toward JTK, and it's caused a collision. JTK is up by a 2/10 almost.
Peculiar. Either on a lap, so it shouldn't be too harsh a penalty if it is a penalty, but...
Well, that's not good. That will not go over well between JNT Gaming and JTK. JTK is currently getting a slipstream here in Maggots and Beckett's from a V-carb. This is AMS Martinez now getting out of the way, but this is interesting there. Just like last week in Miami. What were you saying?
JTK's got no ERS left.
Yeah, but he's got 4/10 of the time. He's getting slipstream from 3 different cars on this lap. Look at this. Both V-carbs and the teammate. This is exactly the same treatment, practically, that Cookie got last week to try to go for pole position on his rivals, and he couldn't do it. JTK, who locked up right there, up 4/10 right now. Can he take another pole? He's looking for pole number 8 in the championship hunt. Woo! He goes pole, 25-8.
Pick up with Mintoki. What can she do? My pole prediction. Never got this treatment in Tier 3.
Wow. That is insane. Polo got up back to the pit lane. He made a mistake. John down on the time. Checkered flag is waving. John will be the first one to get there. Polo got out. Will John improve before we get to Mentelke? And look, John only a 10th. Mentelke going through the sector split. She's getting the favor returned to her with the slipstream. 3/10 up in sector 1. My God.
Let her cook. That's not a sexist joke.
Yeah, I know, but she really is turning it on. John to the line. Will it be pole? Only just 3rd. And over his championship rival, he needed a pole position, and he couldn't go to it. Mentalki getting more slipstream, this time from the teammate. Now we've got other cars crossing.
Is it a coincidence that a woman is cooking the hardest?
Jordan across the line now. Deployment used only 9th. Mentoki is only up by 2/10 now. She can make this a front row lockout and get her best qualifying, but if she finds a way to improve in the last sector, this will be pole position. We've got other drivers crossing the line. Checkered flag is waving, but will it be JTK? Will it be Mentoki? Kipu still is there. Which Red Bull will it be? Mentoki crosses and just misses out. She stays 4th. Wow. That is close between 2nd and 4th. Kipu! Best starting spot for him! He goes to the front row and pulls off a major upset. JTK, though, another pole position. It's number 8.
I need to stop drinking Mentoki, man.
You want to do that.
So I reckon Mentoki's going to crash out first lap in a DNF.
Well, look at this, though, George. We got 3 different constructors in the top 3. And it's safe to say, I would even say at least 1 or 2 of these guys in 2nd and 3rd. Not the first driver for their teams.
It's interesting because Silverstone is a massive DRS train circuit, and the top 3 teams are in the top 6. So there's no real surprise. Like there's not the odd V-carb or Mercedes or whatever in there. It's all Red Bull, McLaren, Ferrari. So I think it should be theoretically just one big DRS train between a lot of them. I think the race.
It's raining though.
I think the race will start depending on when the rain comes, but I think the race will start after the pit stops. I think it's just going to be a bit of a boring.
JTK, Kipu, JNT, John, Mentalki, the top 5. Then Polo God. Both V-carbs doing quite well. And Jordan as well. Down in 9th for Mercedes. Getting out qualified by both V-carbs. A car he got a podium in once. And Blonde in the top 10 for Williams. Bringing that car up there. Some good performances in qualifying that were definitely overlooked by the session we had. I can't forget about both V-carbs. It is, yeah. I thought to start the race. Oh.
My Jeep or something. I thought it was starting a dry race.
Yeah, I mean, it did say light rain with damp conditions, so there should be inters the whole way through unless it will dry up. I mean, the drivers would know better than we do, but I'm going to look on Polo's screen right now and see if he pulls up the strategy, therefore we can see at any point if it dries up. It is drying up at the end. It will dry up at the end of this race, 25 seconds remaining till we get to the formation lap. So, yeah, it's going to go cloudy, then it's going to go partly cloudy. So this is going to be a race where it starts out raining. You got to get the inters at least to probably lap 15, 20. It's going to be interesting to see how this goes.
Who's your money on?
I mean, I don't really know who's good enough in these conditions, but I think Mentalki will do well. She did good in that Imola race. That was her first race in the rain. You also had as well JTK, who won his first race in a wet race. I think Kipu, honestly, is the big surprise here, George. Although everyone's starting on intermediates. Kipu found a lot of time in that last sector, and with a 3rd through 5th place, which was already close, which was 2nd through 4th, Kipu put his car into 2nd place and up there. So he's going to be in the fight. We've seen him perform for Alpine already, and he out-qualified his teammate, who is 2nd in the championship. He is showing Alpine and the Alpine Academy, you made the wrong decision by putting Jordan in this car for next season. I should be the one in it, and he's already proven that already. So yeah, JTK, Kipu, JNT, they have good chances. I mean, anyone in this top 6 really should stay there. Just maybe swap places. I think they have good chances. Polo God won a wet race just like this, really, that I commentated once, a different league. He last won here before in F2. I mean, it really, I don't know. This top 6, it's so tough, George. I really don't know, but JTK, Mentalki, they're good favorites. Kipu's a good upset for sure. But I just want to go over quickly before we go over anything strategy-wise with what things will be like. You can see on the bottom of our screen what that is. The championship standings. JTK leads John by 38 points. Dill JG, Hunted, they're out of this tier. They're not racing. Tadpole as well. They're not racing anymore. They're right behind as well. So we're not focusing on them. But for the constructors, the top 3, Ferrari lead, Red Bull, then McLaren, separated by 11 points, George. This is going to be crucial for the constructors and the drivers that they all have good races.
Absolutely. I think my money's on Polo or JTK to win it. I think it's going to be a race of experience. I think JTK, he doesn't, like, he's not under any pressure here, so he doesn't need to make any mistakes. Which is why I think he's I think he'll be the most confident. But I also think the experience of Polygon as well will pay dividends in the end.
Yeah, I think any of those top 6 have a really big chance to win this race. They know what the cars they're in, they really should be able to win this race. But with the guys 7th and 8th and even 10th, they're outperforming their cars. Don't look past them. Redfire Tiger as well, being back as far as he is, he should be able to make a good comeback. And to no surprise, and you could already see JTK almost pulling in the wrong grid slot. Yeah,
I don't think you're allowed to do that. That could be a pen, stopping on the grid like that.
Yeah.
That's almost definitely a pen.
We're getting ready for lights out. Redfire Tiger is our last car to come to the grid, and we will get 5 red lights coming in just a moment for the Season 13 Tier 2 running of the British Grand Prix. It's a wet one. Here come the 5 red lights. They're on. The drivers rev it up for 5 red lights. We're lights out and away we go. Kipu, better start than JTK. Kipu takes the lead of the race. 3 wide. Both V-Carbs splitting Polo God. Polo God is absolutely at a horror start. JNT Gaming side by side with John. Martinez got a corner cutting penalty. Polo God down to 10th. It's a chaotic start, and they're trundling around as they get to turn 3. JTK is taking back the lead of the race. John is there to pounce, but it's all happening. C. Davies up to 8th. JNT down to 5th. And Spinner, that's a Haas around Robin down the grid.
Yeah, it's a dream start for the McLarens. They've settled in now to a 2-3 position. I wonder if they're going to fight. It looks like they are, but you would think that they just want to stick with JTK and get a gap to the cars behind and let the strategy come into it.
C. Davies, Ardell, some of our biggest winners on lap 1. Redfire Tiger up to 13th. This is going to be a big race for some of these drivers. Polo Guy going side by side at Cops in the wet with Blonde. Blonde goes off. Was he forced off though? Kipu trades second with John. John now has all the fuel to fight with JTK. It's definitely helped him. Blonde though, not so much help. He's out of it. He's crashed and he's out.
He just laughed. Was he lagged out? What's going on there?
Well, that's an interesting one.
I think
We're
they're
talking
tied
on
on
the back
track,
of
to be honest.
JNT. Jordan passing Polo. This is getting crazy, George. It's all happening. And it already was in Sector 1, but now as they get to Sector 3, trundling around in these conditions, you got to slow it down, and we could already see almost both Mercedes teammates hitting one another.
Well, McLaren don't seem to have the pace. JTK is driving away from it. It's a bit of a train behind the McLarens here. We saw John and Kipu trade places. I'm assuming that meant that Kipu didn't feel like he had the pace. However, it doesn't seem like John is much faster.
Well, we'll see what happens as we get through this race. You could already see the spots gained. Red Fire up to 7. C. Davies up 3. Good start for both Aston Martins. Ardell with a good start. His teammate Martinez got a 3-second for taking evasive action there as they got to turn 2. We'll see if that gets appealed at all. But Polo God is going, oh, that's a car off. That is a Mercedes in the background. But he's now battling the other Mercedes. It's an Academy teammate, the highest one, C. Davies. Side by side, they get to Sector 2. Polo got ahead. Davies to the inside, cannot get there. But both Mercedes are wheel-to-wheel in the background. This is a bit shocking that they're this far back, George.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think either of them had a good start, but, I mean, let them go. It's a long race yet.
And the good thing is, these are wet conditions. These should really benefit their cars. But right now, it's not! Off! Jordan! Into the wall!
Yikes. John has caught up to JTK though, and they pulled out a gap on Kippy. So it seems like John maybe he was struggling with firing up his tyres, but it seems like he's really fired them up now. He's got more battery than JTK as well. So watch this space.
The big thing for JTK and these McLarens in this fight is that both McLarens are here. Mentalki is back there in 5th. She's got a Ferrari in front, not anywhere near the McLarens. And Jordan has gone around again. Damage to his car. He'll have to pit surely. But as John takes the fastest lap, this is exactly what I mean, George. You got both McLarens here to fight this. This is exactly the point compared to what you were used to there in the Tier 3 race. You had both Ferraris fighting you. You didn't really have the second Red Bull that was there. That's exactly the same situation JTK is in right here. He doesn't have the second Red Bull right there. I mean, she's there, but she's not close enough to these McLarens to help JTK at any situation that is possible, and Jordan is out in the pit lane.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, in Tier 3 I've not really had a teammate helping me all season, other than Val helping me a little bit at Bahrain. The only teammate I've really had that was competitive was last night at Baku, and Goatley seemed more interested in taking himself, me, or trying to take me out, or you out, than actually doing anything of use. So yeah, it's been a bit of a common theme with Red Bull this season a little bit.
Well, Polish Hammer picks up a track limit penalty. He's the first one to do so for multiple warnings. And John is closing on the back of JTK. Jake Bandy is going wheel-to-wheel wavy, and that's almost a collision. Don't know how it wasn't. But now for our lead, John on the back of JTK. He's not close enough. And I was just going to mention, George, Red Fire Tiger back in 11th. Actually up in 11th, really, because he gained spots with a default setup. So this is impressive from Red Fire.
Very much so, yeah. I think he said he might have a normal race setup on.
I don't know if you just noticed, George, but J&T Gaming has let Mentalki go. Something happened there.
I noticed with JTK quite a lot. He seems to have quite a snappy rear end, so maybe he's just struggling to get on top of it. He's just set the fastest lap though. But no, his car seems very squirrely in the slow speed.
Well, JTK does lead this race. You got John there. Kipu is now in the fight. He's within proximity. John ran a bit wide there. And in the background, Ardell is now taking on the Ferrari of J&T Gaming. So Ardell has now overtaken both Ferraris here, a car that he used to be in just a season or so ago. This is getting chaotic. Now the Ferrari of Polo guy going to shoot it up the outside. The Sauber is out. That's Woda crashing with Polish Hammer there. Something has happened between both Saubers. I'm not sure if they came together or if it was separate incidents there. But for our lead, John has the battery. So does JTK. But this is big.
Pretty sure
you were saying?
Caught right back up, and they've all just absolutely gapped the cars behind. Again, it's placed massively into the McLaren's hands. Mind you, Mintoki's still there, and they are catching. And what is going on here? Like, Mintoki's just taken out 4/10. Half a second in Maggott and Beckett alone.
It showed she needed to get by J&T Gaming, and she did just that, George. She did it at a timely rate. John is closing in the back of JTK. I'm surprised because JTK was able to pull earlier, and you could already see them drifting there into the corner. That was so treacherous as they try to get by. In the background, you have a V-Carb and a Ferrari going side by side. Polo got a Martinez squawking around right there, banging with one another into the chicane. Now, Polo God is through on the V-Carb. This is a nightmare situation for both Ferraris behind a V-Carb.
Yeah, the Ferrari seems to be nowhere for the minute. Their pace is struggling. They both had pretty bad starts. Don't count them out yet. I think hopefully for their sake, so they can turn it on a bit more when the track seems to dry up. But for the minute, it's all between the Red Bulls and the McLarens.
Jordan out of this race, Polish Hammer out of this race, Wooda out of this race, and so is Blonde. Robin will need an invite. He's lagged out of the session. Sam Gino gets overtaken for the last point spot. That's what Red Fire Tiger, but for our lead, John is there, and now he has the chance to overtake JTK, but I just don't think he's able to do so yet. You have Mentalki who's 2.3 back, by the way, able to pull away from Ardell, but the best situation for Red Bull in this sense is that they have an Academy teammate right there, if anything happens, but now for our lead, something will happen here, and the cops, something's got to give. JTK has the lead, and John was maybe trying for a switcheroo, but couldn't do it. My goodness, they're getting racy already.
That's what we love to see. This is what Silverstone can do.
And just like the real life Grand Prix, it's raining here, of course, so no surprise there that it's able to provide this action. John using the battery, JTK doing the same. It's defense versus attack here between the drivers, first and second in the championship. In the background, we have a big, massive train, no DRS online, but some ducking out, one making a move. Martinez on the inside, about to clip Polo God's rear, didn't do so, but that could have been treacherous. And right now, everyone just trying to pick their breaking point back here. Almost contact. Hippo. Fastest lap. Just big toward this race. Feels like they are putting on the pressure since Todd
He's gone for it. John's gone for it.
Down the inside. Side by side. Now going to fight it out. John the long way. JTK the inside.
I think John is going to have to get his elbows out because the Red Bull straight line speed is pretty unmatched. So if he wants to get past JTK, he's going to have to get fucking down and dirty.
Here we go. Here we go. John moving around. Still moving around. Maybe that was twice. I'm not too sure, but it's all hard racing between our front runners. We saw in the background there some positions trading. I think we might have another one. It's two teammates now. The Aston Martins fighting it out. Red Fire Tiger has the inside. C. Davies has the outside now. And both Ferraris trying to put pressure on the V-Carbs. One of them just wiggled. That was Martinez. But right now, down the order. Collision. J&T Gaming and Ardell. They're both off.
What has happened there?
Whoa, both Aston Martins almost collide too. My goodness. What is happening? And J&T got a penalty that is likely appealable, a 10-second time penalty, but Ardell's good day has just come undone, and John will not boost this time, George. I don't think he would, being that far back on the straight.
No, it's a bit of a tough one for both of them, to be fair, because it's you know, you want to keep attacking and you want to keep JTK in check, but whilst doing so, you're using bits of ERS, and then when it comes to the point where you need it to properly send an attack on, you just don't quite have it underneath you. And JTK's did a brilliant job just managing his ERS, because I would say he's absolutely maybe not even the second or third fastest car track at the minute. He seems to be really struggling, but the way he's using his ERS is keeping him in the lead for sure.
Oh, John tried to have a peek down the inside, but nothing happened from it. This still closes up Kippu. Kippu is right there, and if the McLarens felt that maybe John can attack JTK, maybe Kippu can. And right now, George, it's only lap 7. It's crazy to think that we're only 7 laps into this race, and obviously, with it being feeling like it's being so long already. I mean, this is a long way with John and GTK fighting this out. They still have a long way to go to try and make any noise with the Red Bull.
Yeah, I mean, I was saying at one point it looked like Mentalki was closing very quickly. She seems to have she's keeping a distance a little bit. She's not really closing, not really losing. She's sort of staying on that 2.5 second mark. Polo got as well. I think similar thing, keeping that distance to Mentalki. So it all seems pretty linear for P4 and P5. Martinez, he's apparently just set a purple middle sector. Oh. He is dropping his battery there to try and catch up to Polo God. Well, but it's all close to the front still.
Yeah, I mean, it's fair to say as well that this rain will start to die down probably around halfway. We saw the last two, at least from what I saw on Polo God's stream, is they trade fastest laps. At the last two parts, that's when it starts to get dry. John. We'll see what that does of it. Here we go. Yup, John
Whoa,
wiggles.
Wow.
Get a look, though.
Giddy up, boy. Hold on, son.
He's got Kipu there now, too. Kipu down the inside. John maybe struggling. Kipu's going to go for it. I think John's going to back off and give it to him. He does just that. Kipu now will go attack our race leader. We saw these two battle in Bahrain. Will we see part 2 of this, maybe?
A man of the second attacked into the defense for John. He goes from looking to take the lead to down to P3.
Well, it's quite crazy, though, that John wiggled right there and then lost it all. I mean, he has a lot of ERS still left in the tank, but so does the other drivers inside the top 3, and even Mintaki using it, trying to get to the drivers in front. She's got a 2-second gap over Polo God, who took 5th place after overtaking Martinez, and then Ardell and JNT had their collision. JNT got a 3-second moments ago. By the way, we did not ignore that, but these conditions can be so tough for a driver. I remember the Austria preseason event. I know you probably weren't there, George, but with events like these, though, in the rain, you just got to keep your head in check. And right now, I think John was doing that up until the last lap.
It seems like that mistake as well from John, which led to the sort of McLarens almost, tripping over each other. It's opened up quite a big gap to JTK now, almost a second. It'd be interesting to see if JTK wants to pounce on that, which he is doing. He's in a hot lap. That's the fastest lap of the race. It's definitely drying up, I think, for sure as well. The track is, as we can see, getting quicker.
Yeah, and here we go.
3-second.
Yeah, that's back outside the points. Sam Gino just had the fastest lap, but they were all moving around here. 5th place on the straight. Keep in mind, although it's like that in the dry with what we were talking about before the race, George, with the bumps, it's just like that in the wet. Down the inside, the Aston is now overtaking the Recarb. Red Fire Tiger is on the charge. He's about to get 6th place right here. They're wheel to wheel. And by the way, John lost 2 seconds to Kipu right there. Don't know what happened there, but they're fighting behind them. It's 6th place up for grabs. Red Fire with a massive send, and now they almost connect wheels. Martinez has to take evasive action, and Sam Gino gets in on the fight here as well.
It seems like both Kipu and JTK are driving into the puddles on the straight.
Yeah, it's 7th place. Sorry. Martinez just cut Sam Gino off. Thought it was going to be a collision. You were saying?
Yeah, no, it just seems like both JTK and Kipu are driving into puddles on the straight. I wonder if they're suffering from overheating as well. Kipu has just set up a purple middle sector though, and he has closed up half a second, and they both absolutely dropped John, who he must have made a mistake because he's now Mitaki's right on the back of him.
Yeah, I just feel this is very unusual from John to be this far back and not really fighting this. I think he has similar pace to what JTK has had in these races, and we've seen that, but John has got more unlucky, and right now he's not getting unlucky. He's just falling back. I don't know what happened. C. Davies overtakes Academy teammate Sam Gino. They're all moving around on the straight. They know these bumps are so treacherous, and maybe it's worse in the wet as well. You can see the drivers on the main straight doing so. When Kipu took fastest lap, off goes the Aston, and there's a collision. Oh my goodness, C. Davies remains straight.
Oh.
Wow. Safe to say it's getting chaotic right now in this race. Still, with the gaps being sprung out.
JNT and Ardell getting a bit elbows out.
Oh, yeah.
Not for the first time in this race.
Remember, he's got a 10-second that he might get removed. Robin's got a 3-second. He joined back the session, but Ardell, I guess, looking to defend on the Ferrari now. This is like deja vu from earlier this race, though, George. A V-Carb versus a Ferrari just never ends.
No, and I think they'd both be disappointed to be that far down as well. As Red Fire is rallying, or C. Davis even is rallying.
Red Fire got a penalty now. You were talking about him.
Packing onto it, isn't he, Davis? He's always like he's ragging the car, driving the wheels off the thing.
We've got a fight here into Stowe. Martinez is on the move down the inside on Polo God. John gets a penalty. Big for this race. I think Polo God may have picked up one there as well. I don't know if he already had one or not, but big stuff for this race with the track limits. Drivers trying to push it in the wet conditions and not doing the best that they can from it because they're picking up track limit penalties. They're going over the limits, and Polo God is going wide. He's struggling. He got overtaken, and he now might get overtaken again here with Red Fire Tiger kind of moving around now, looking for some space to give and maybe overtake with.
Can you remember when it said that the rain was meant to stop what lap roughly?
I mean, usually, hold on. Red Fire down the inside, wheel banging with Polo God now, and Polo God is still ahead. But yeah, I think if you're really thinking about pitting in this race, you're going to want to extend as far as you can in the inners, even maybe until they get a puncture. But based on what we've seen so far this game, it's going to have to come probably lap 13, lap 14, right around halfway. But see, the tough thing with that, George, is that you're going to have this racetrack dry up, probably enough for dry tires. So do you do exactly what maybe Minico did in a similar sense at Imola on F2 and just wait it out but save your tires? Because clearly, it seems like Kipu and JTK have been able to pull away from John, whether that be due to them not saving tires or John not saving tires. It's interesting. I think we're going to see a race where drivers try to hold it out to either risk a puncture just to go and wait for the dry tires, or they do pit and they go inners and make an extra stop anyway. But George, you know this, the pit lane is so long, I don't know if you even do that.
No, I think definitely if it does look like there's the dry is inevitable, it's not really an option.
Oh.
Get for intermediates.
J&T Gaming, more trouble.
They're both driving all over the wet. They must be suffering from overheating.
Who's this? The 2 leaders?
Yeah, the 2 leaders, yeah.
Yeah.
Straight. They're both weaving all throughout the wet.
Oh. I mean, I was just looking at the battle 5th on back because we did have some overtakes between the 2 Astons. Red Fire Tiger, I mean, you were mentioning him a bit ago, C. Davies as well. They looked like they were gaining spots. They're down to 8th and 9th now, the 2 Astons. I think that's a bit of a surprise. Their car, I would say, does quite well in these conditions from at least what I could tell. Kipu closing to JTK but cannot pass him, and yeah, you can just see that either you drift a little bit in these conditions and you get away with it, or you drift like Kipu and John did right there, and it costs you time.
That's Robin that spins on us straight.
Well then, maybe going to the pit lane and retiring, maybe having rear wing damage. What's happening to him? He pits. Will this be a change of tires? Will this be a retirement? We'll find out in a moment, but Kipu, 3 seconds between him and John. We haven't talked a lot about Kipu and his history in RPL. We've talked about JTK. We talked about John quite a bit. They're 1-2 in the championship. Kipu might be 5th in the championship and all, George, but he's never won an RPL. He got his first Tier 2 podium back in Bahrain. He had an F2 podium prior. He's really coming alive here, it's safe to say.
Definitely seems to be finding his stride, yeah, for sure.
And he deserves this. He really deserves this McLaren shot. Hunton moved up for the remainder of the season. Kipu gets his chance full-time for the remainder of the season. He'll get replaced by Jordan next season, and of course, that's something he was not too happy about. Felt like he got messed over right there. But with that being said, this is the race where he's proving himself right now. We're halfway, and he can't lose touch with JTK.
I think it's to think about it. I wouldn't say that I've done it. I think
We got moves.
I wouldn't say that I've done it.
JTK, Jake Bandy, Ardell, J&T Gaming looking like he's backing off, and J&T Gaming, our reigning champion, looking like he's having a tough time out there. But right now, JTK is having to go on the defense mode over Kipu. 76% versus 100 on the battery. Kipu is really managing this quite well.
He is coming alive, to be fair to him. I'm not really sure what his game plan is, though, because he seems to be sat behind JTK for quite a few laps. You'd have thought by now he would be trying to match a bit more of a challenge. As I say that, he is looking very racy, going down through cops. A full battery to his name.
I will say this. We've seen him be the guy who's impressed quite a bit in the Alpine so far this season. And even last season as well, having his chance in the McLaren in Abu Dhabi, that come crashing down in the last few laps. But he really deserves this chance tonight to fight in the McLaren against our championship rival. And we've seen this happen to where they take the fight to JTK, and they actually went out from this, George. They've done it before as there is moves back outside the points. You had Hunt to take the fight to JTK in Spain. He won out from it. Austria, it's safe to say, JTK put vulnerable there. John won in that battle. And Tadpole beat JTK in Bahrain. Are we seeing another race where, although JTK has been the most consistent driver this season, get those podiums, everything that he needs as Red Fire pits, are we seeing Kipu maybe do the same thing that others have done? Maybe went out from it?
I think it's a bit early to call it. I think JTK is driving a pretty much
is,
perfect
but
race.
still.
I think the only thing Kipu really has a chance of you're getting past JTK if JTK makes mistakes. I think the nature of the game where you can save the RS so quick that if JTK makes a mistake, he can just drop his battery and pull that gap out again. I just think he needs JTK to do something wrong or wait until it's dry for the DRS to kick in, because up until then I can't really see him making a valid overtake stick.
Our point. Red Fire Tiger, by the way, he is pitted. He's on to new intermediate tires. So is Ardell. This is exactly the time I said they would, George, but with how long this pit lane is, you're losing tons of time. You're going to have to hope you save enough tires and wait it out. Robin gets another penalty. And now Samgino passes Polo God. Did Polo God make a mistake there?
I mean, I think realistically those two are going to be praying that it doesn't dry up, because if it does, I think they're out of the race. But if it does stay wet, they are right in it, because I think a lot of people are going to be trying to go to the end. Or go as long as they can, and they will be so fast now, Red Fire and Ardell. But it just all depends on what the weather is going to do.
All right, so we got no real battles right now on the racetrack. We got, well, I should say no real overtakes happening on the racetrack. We got battles, though, to still look forward to. So just a reminder for those of you wanting to tune in for the rest of the weekend as we do pass the halfway point, meanwhile. F2 tomorrow at Qatar for their second half of the season. Imola for F1. Next week we'll have Tier 3 in Texas. And we'll also have Tier 2 in Hungary next week, by the way, which, by the looks of things, I will not be there for.
No!
Yeah, so sad. But we have good news. It looks like, from the looks of things, we have a returning commentary lineup from the looks of things right now, as long as both finalize that deal that we've talked about in the commentary chat, as you might be aware of, George. Owen and Jack have not commentated Tier 2 in a while. It'll be good to have them back for a nice little one-off at Hungary. Assuming that there's no chance the championship gets clinched next week, by the way. So that's the way it looks right now.
Yeah, I'm so happy getting kicked out of commentary.
I know, me too. But it's nice, though, to have them back. They're ones who've done it before, so I don't mind giving it up. Maybe you could do it with them for a third person if they wouldn't mind. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But yeah, Red Fire, George, you spoke about when to pit. He pitted. He just overtook JNT. So I think you'll have better inters right now, but you want to wait it out, though. You know it's drying up right here, and it will go dry soon, surely. Just how soon?
I think the big advantage they'll have is that when it gets that phase between dries or intermediates, I think they'll be so much quicker as well, because they'll have so much more life in the tires.
He was about to get lapped too. Racing it out. 7th place. Polo God takes back that place over C. Davies. They were definitely fighting it out. Now they get to the main straight. That definitely was a track limit warning for C. Davies, putting 4 wheels off the track right there momentarily. At white lines, you've seen some drivers go off of them, and 7 of them have penalties so far in this race. But yeah, you got different fights within certain gaps. You got J&T Gaming with Jake Bandy right here for 12th. You got 7th and 8th. You got 5th and 6th, and we've not talked about Martinez a lot. He's had a really good race so far. Quite astonishing right there from him. Red Fire takes fastest lap, and he got the battle for the lead. So we have 4 different battles realistically on this racetrack, and maybe you can add in a 5th, George, with new tires versus old tires right now. And out of this race, Robin. Out. Virtual safety car. Do you pit now if you're one of those drivers? He is on the side of the road right there. Let's take a look. Oh. He may have lost that out of cops. That's a weird place to crash.
If I was C. Davis, I'd pit. He's got a free pit stop. Is it worth pitting? Has it stopped raining? No, it hasn't stopped raining. I don't know.
It's died down. That's what we know, but how much?
How much faster is Red Fire in?
And he looks a little faster, but I don't think he's that much faster. I just think J&T and Jake Bandy, they've struggled quite a bit. Do any of the top 2 blink? None of them do. Oh, drive-through. And for Kipu! Oh my goodness! Heartbreak for the man in 2nd place.
And just like that, the race is gone.
Yeah. But it's also wide open for John to at least limit the damage here. If Kipu can fight JTK now and put the pressure on him to be backed into John, this is the only thing that will help them for the constructors at this point. Or at least have a chance. Kipu's shot is done.
he needs a miracle now to get back into this race. But that is, I mean, it's a rookie error at the end of the day. There's not really any excuse for it, but that is racing.
It happens. Into the pit lane is Lero Fusion. He serves his drive-through. Red Fire, Tiger, and Wavy. They're making up now the last point spot. They pass him due to that. Meanwhile, they're battling because of this. Red Fire 21 seconds behind the teammate. And this is interesting because he kind of has put himself in a situation to where if this doesn't dry up enough for dry tires and they do get a puncture at some point, it looks like Red Fire would be in good hands. But the thing is, George, as we've said, this race is supposed to dry up. It's supposed to get to cloudy soon, then partly cloudy, but we just don't know when.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. I think as soon as it stops raining, it should dry up pretty quickly, but it doesn't really seem like there's much a chance of that yet.
100% pit for more inners as long as it will carry on raining, says Tadpole. Titan in chat, Goggy in chat. Got other drivers in chat, other former drivers. Polo God overtaken by C. Davies for 7th. Yeah, and Goggy feels for Kipu. I do too, but at the same time, though, this is what happens when the pressure gets put onto you. I had that happen to myself in Tier 3 yesterday in the Ferrari. It happens. But I think the good thing for Kipu, George, just like I could take away from yesterday in the Tier 3 race, is that he was there today. He was there, he was in this fight, and technically for moments, slight moment, he led this race, so...
Yeah, I agree, but again, I'm not sure how relevant it is, because at the end of the day, you know, it's all well and good being fast. It's like the big argument we have in Tier 3 with myself. I'm not the fastest driver, but I just don't get penalties, which is why I'm leading the championship by 63 points. You know, it's one thing being fast and consistent, but at the end of the day, you have to be there at the end of the race, scoring the points.
Fair point. It's very true.
I think Kipu is still done up until the drive-through an exceptional job. You know, he's done exactly what has been required of him, putting pressure on JTK. However, such as, you know, to be fair, easily made mistake has cost him the race, and all that hard work has just been undone.
Yeah, he definitely won't want to watch back this race. That's for sure. That's one thing he'll hate. But will he serve this drive-through this lap? He's gonna have to serve it either this lap or next lap from the looks of things right now. Kipu is coming in to serve the drive-through. The trickier thing though is that he's gonna serve this, and he's already gonna have to pit at some point for dry tires by the looks of things. And Kipu actually did get credited with leading that lap, I believe.
Does it stop raining? Oh no.
It's dying down. You could see it dying down. Less spray, I mean, less raindrops, but it's gonna dry up. Will it be enough for dry tires by the end of this race? And will it be effective enough? Do you stay out and go for inters? If you're someone like Martinez or Mentelke, though, or even maybe Sam Gino, who's not far behind, I would say, George, you take this gamble maybe if there's not enough laps left to gain on dry tires. I say you could. With how long this pit lane is, you surely have to take the chance. Red Fire, fastest lap.
I mean, if I'm Kipu or Polo maybe, I think about it, but I think realistically, because the pit lane is so long, you're going to lose so much pitting. It stopped raining. It stopped raining officially.
Oh.
So this could actually be pivotal.
Will it be long before the
I think we're going to see quite a few changes for softs now, because, you know, 7 laps to go on intermediate on the drying track. I think it's going to dry up with a lap or two. This could be huge to the race now.
Yeah, it definitely will be. And now the question is, do you pit this lap or do you wait until DRS is enabled? This is going to be interesting because JTK, John, Mentalki, even Martinez, who's in the fight for a podium a second week running, will have some big choices to make, and it will matter who will be the first one to make those choices, who will be the last one to make those choices. That will all be pivotal points. You're Red Bull here. Do you double stack? JTK stays out. Does Mentalki take the gamble and pit right now? The track is still quite wet, but Martinez is in. Samgino is in. They could win out super big here. Remember, that pit lane has changed. It's later. Don't speed. Martinez did.
Again, it's these little mistakes that cost the races. All the hard work, it's undone over, you know, a second decision. I think if I'm John, he needs to try and do something different here. He can't pit the same lap as JTK. He needs to pit this lap, in my opinion. He needs to take the risk.
But It's soft tires for them. No surprise that it is the soft compound of tires that they're going on to. Red Fire Tiger sets yet another fastest lap. And he'll get an advantage for a little bit, but for how long? Mentoki, by the way, she is in third, right now on the podium place, taking advantage from the whole Kipu situation, looking for yet another podium in Tier 2. But I still wonder here, with the laps we have left, 6 of them, with the inters as well, this track is still a little wet. It's still not enough to gain massively on dry tires, but you do gain. Do you still stay out here and maybe hope you can get the track position? If you're at John's risk, maybe take a gamble. Mentoki, maybe a little bit trickier to take a gamble in that situation, but you gotta wonder, is it worth taking a gamble, though, to get this race win? You said those mistakes cost you. Well, do you even want to go to the pit lane knowing there's a chance to speed? You mentioned Martinez is 10-second. We've got 6 drivers who pitted.
I think it's definitely try now. John's up on his best lap by 4 times.
Kipu's off.
I think now it's a crossover point.
Yeah.
He's hit the bollards. That could be a penalty for him. Is he clear the pit line?
Oh, boy. John stays out. Mentoki double stacks. She's far enough back to do so, but she's got to not speed. Other drivers have already, including her academy teammate. Polo God stays out. John and Polo staying out. Yellow flags. That is back there. That is Wavy Knife doing his weekly spin. But, yeah, well, Kipu, though, he went off, and he's going off again. Kipu went off. He was fighting J&T. These soft tires, although they're going to be faster, you see some struggling with this. Red Fire takes technically the net lead here in a moment. J&T 3 second. JTK is wiggling out of the pit lane. This is troubling for him.
This will be really interesting then to see who's faster between JTK and Red.
Mentoki spun in the pit lane.
Opposite tires.
Oh my goodness. This race is going to flip upside down like no other. She might have right side end plate damage. She does. This is going to change the podium outcome completely. If John and Polo take advantage of this, George, they'll be the ones in the 3rd place in the podium, maybe 2nd place. But Martinez has that penalty. He does have the 10-second. If it's not going to be him, it could be Sam Gino.
Red Fire Tiger is pulling away from JTK. But I think towards the end of the lap here now, this middle sector with all the fast up is definitely where the slicks are faster, as we see JTK is catching him quite considerably. I think George might have timed this perfectly if he pits this lap, which he isn't. He is staying out. Is he going to the end? I don't.
Softs aren't ready. Some of them are saying in the Twitch chat, George. I would have to agree based on what I saw with Kipu. They're going to be faster slightly, but in some sections it's still tricky.
Interesting. I think JTK. He's about the same pace as Red Fire Tiger now. Like now we see it. It's been Toki's race goes from bad to worse.
Polo pits. Is this late? Is this in time? I don't know. I mean, he was 10 seconds back from John, but we'll find out. His teammate, J&T Gaming, just got absolutely swarmed right there by C. Davies. Martinez on soft.
I wonder if John goes to the end.
He's got a 20-second gap. He could do so. He needs to do this if he wants to get some points down on JTK. Look at the championship gap, or not even the championship gap, the penalties as well. 3 seconds. And the championship gap as well, George. 38 points.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think JTK has done anything wrong here. Although he's 7/10 up, it's definitely Slicks now. He's flying. He's, purple sector.
Yeah.
Let him cook. I think now is definitely the crossover. But
yeah,
John left it too late.
Maybe Polo pitted at the right time then, if that's the case, though. But you remember, catching's one thing, passing's another. We got, what, 3-4 laps remaining, something like that?
Yeah, and I think, as JNT. What has happened there? He's stuck in neutral. VSC. If
John wanted to pit now, he can.
That looked like he did that on purpose, I'll be honest. That did look very intentional. He was stuck on... He was on the inside apex of turn 1, revving in neutral, and as soon as the safety car came out, he did leave. This is huge for John, though. Undoubtedly saved his chances of fighting for the race win. Will he be able to come out in front of JCK? I'm not sure. It looks like he might, actually.
He probably will. Red Fire stays out close, so that's one car in front of JTK regardless.
And he's now fresher tyres, and it's also, crucially, he's going to get a chance to warm them up as well.
Yeah, this is quite insane. John exits the pit lane now. You cannot do what Mentelke did on those tires and spin out of the pit lane. He's coming out of it now. He'll have the race lead, but he will have it by probably about 3 seconds, maybe 4. Depends on when this VSC ends. You cannot speed on this. Just remember that. And JTK, by the way, look at this gap. 4.9 to the race lead. John has the 3 second. JTK needs to go now as soon as this VSC ends.
The issue as well is can JTK get back into the back into the penalty box? He's in a big snap on traction. He's still fighting the car, and he's he's almost off. That's not ideal for him at all.
2 drive-thrus, George. Polo got him, and Mentelke. Kippy would take advantage, but some of these guys, maybe even Wavy, who could take advantage. Jake Bandy, who could take advantage, get some points here in Tier 2 after Polo and Mentelke now have it go down the drain. This is also big for the constructors. I know you said J&T did that on purpose. I don't know why he would with, you know, Red Bull and McLaren both taking advantage, and his car, Polo, now having a drive-through from it.
I don't know why he would, but I know what I saw.
That's fair. At least you got a clip of it.
I didn't get a clip. I'm not streaming.
Oh.
But
oh, Red Fire, another one.
If anybody else did, I mean, maybe we can clip the track map, but doubt that would be enough evidence.
J&T does stream, so there's a point there to make.
Interesting.
But, yeah, we'll see what happens now. We have a few laps remaining here. JTK needs to get by Red Fire. Red Fire is going to stay out. You know he has to if he wants to get a good finish here on a default setup from the back of the grid. Maybe one of our Driver of the Day contenders based on how today has went so far. Martinez has ran well too. Sam Gino started poorly as well. A lot of drivers have taken advantage, but speaking of taking advantage, JTK needs to run down John with 3 laps remaining. He needs to get there now. The gap between him and the lead, it's 4.1. He needs 1.1 to get this win. You won here in penalties once, George. You know how to do it, too. So, there you go.
Yeah, I mean, he's still not even past Red Fire yet, which is what's costing him the race. He should easily do it into, is it Laffield now, the next corner? I think so. Yeah, he should just drive past him.
Yeah,
now
there you
it
go.
all comes down to, can JTK catch John?
He's got clean air now to do so.
John has got all the advantage. He's got the gap.
Whoa.
JTK has got a lot of ERS though to use. John's got the gap and he's got the tyres. Let's see what
George,
he can do.
JTK had a moment there. He slid. He's lost 4/10 because of it.
This seems to be a little bit rash, so he's making quite a few mistakes. He doesn't need to. He doesn't even need to win the race. He just needs to collect a decent amount of points. He's already got John as well, having a huge snap coming out of Magnussen Beckett, but he is still 4.5 seconds up on his personal best lap. John's just got to get in the rhythm there. He's got a second and a half in hand. There's no need to stress. Emas Martinez on the brink of getting a podium for the RB as well. Can't forget about that. Sam Gino as well. At the start of the race, me and you were saying that both Mercedes were down in 10th and 11th, having a shocker, and now he's up, almost in the fight for a podium. He might even get P4 at the end of the race, depending on how bad Red Fire's tyres fall off. So keep an eye on that as well. Polo got still in contention as well for that P4, as he is just outside of DRS on the Mercedes. But
by the way,
John is gapping JTK. He's pulling away. He's pulling out that gap.
2 lap pressure softs. Something else to mention, George, you're mentioning drivers to the field. Red Fire right now has this podium place. He might not keep it, though, just an FYI. But Jake Bandy has gone 23 laps on his intermediate tires, and he continues to stay out. He does not have a puncture at all, and he's trying to make this go the rest of the way. He's done a good job, not being the fastest driver, maybe not being the slowest driver, but just cruising around, getting all he can to go basically the whole way on intermediate tires and make this go to the end. I'm a bit surprised this has happened, but he might collect a point or so from it. He's got to hold this gap for 2 more laps over Wavy.
I can't believe how fast Red Fire is still. I can't, he really is hanging on in there. Fair play to him. Will Martinez be able to catch her on the last lap? I don't think Sam Gino will. I think he's got bigger problems than that of the big red Ferrari behind him. But will Martinez be able to snatch that last podium position off him?
Well, right now, it's what, 9.3 to 13.9? I mean, Red Fire is 6 seconds. It looks like Sam Gino is continuing to gain, so he'll get the last podium place, it looks like, by the skin of his teeth right now. If that stands, though, as we reach the final lap with John setting yet another fastest lap, cannot afford a penalty as Polo God and Mentelke serve their drive-thrus on the last lap. I was just going to say with with Sam Gino here as Martinez closes. If he takes this podium, he'll be the fourth different driver to be on the podium for the first time this season in Tier 2. Right now on track, though, third place up for grabs. Martinez goes down the inside, sends it, and gets through on Red Fire Tiger. Red Fire Tiger has tried so hard to claw his way through the field. Martinez has tried so hard to get this gap as far out of Sam Gino and Kipu as he can with 16 seconds of penalties, but he'll at least get the podium on track. Nothing to show for it on the results.
Yeah, still, it's been a pretty incredible race from Red Fire, coming from the back, not been able to set a lap in qualifying. And he really is driving the bollocks with that car on those intermediates. We've got to give him full credit though. Sam Gino is catching like fuck. It must be said.
Well, Mintoki and Polo God, they serve their drive-thrus. They come out 8th and 9th. Jake Bandy barely has a 2-second gap over Wavy. We'll look toward that later on. But the man we've had to look for the last week, wondering where he was. Last week, he was without a wheel. He didn't race last week. But from zero now to hero with a strategic masterclass. He needed this for the championship's sake. John wins the British Grand Prix with a strategic masterclass. Getting the championship gap down just as he needed. JTK takes yet another podium, and Polo God is off. Big incident for him. Jake Bandy might take a point. Sam Gino, for the first time, is on the Tier 2 podium. Congrats to him. What a race he ran as well. Red Fire Tiger, a good comeback for 4th. Martinez is 5th. Kipu with the drive-thru and got a purple last sector. Nothing to show for it, but P6 in the end. Big fight now for 10th.
Can Jake Bandy get a move done? I don't think so. I think those
He's
tyres have
gonna
officially
have
hit
to
the
hope
wall.
for a last minute.
It's not a valiant
maybe.
effort from him though. I think we have to give credit to all those who stayed out on the intermediates. It was bold and it almost paid off for all of them.
Yeah, you're exactly right. I'm trying to fix this controller so it stops going up. There we go. But yeah, Kipu frustrated, leaving the session there. That might be a bit of a talking to there, but Mentelke still got points. Polo God went off in the last lap. He still got points, but John needed this, George. He did something different. This is exactly what I talked about. He was the one, if anyone could do it, to do just that, and he pulled off the victory today. Just as we expected if anybody tried the strategy, if there was not enough laps left, and there definitely wasn't enough laps left. He won, and he's got the championship gap down to what, 31 points maybe?
Just to go back to what we were saying about J&T, apparently he got teleported onto the track from the pits and it brought out of the SC.
Mintoki wondering why she got a drive through. Red Fire very happy with his result. And J&T reminding Kipu, per the rules, you may have your result voided due to leaving the session early. He better provide a good argument for that one.
There will be an argument. He is not getting that result overturned. There was a clear message put out.
Yeah, no, I know, but he better find a way to make some sort of excuse that may be believable. If not, you're right. I don't see a way that he gets that back. Speaking of that, Jake Bandy will get a point maybe by the looks of it. He actually got Polo God on the penalties regardless. So even if Kipu got that reinstated, George, he'd be 10th. Wavy, P8 for Williams. Some good races today. Here's your final rundown of results. John did get fastest lap, so it's now a 30-point gap then. But this championship fight's on. There's no doubt about it now.
Who will give you a driver of the day to then?
I mean, it has to go to either one of the drivers who finished anywhere from 1st to 4th, excluding ATK, being my 3 options of Sam Gino, 1st podium, Red Fire, P19 to 4th, John with a strategic masterclass. Someone who's not in my top 3 but deserves a shout out is Jake Bandy and Wavy. They both had good races and got points for their respective teams. So yeah, I think anyone from that top 3 deserve the credit for driver of the day. I don't know who, but they all have good arguments.
I think it has to go to Sam Gino. Is it Sam Gino? The Mercedes, you got the podium? Yeah.
Yep, yeah.
Yeah, I think first podium, tough race. I think Red Fire was an incredible comeback. I think I'm just going to tip it towards Sam Gino because at the start of the race he was down and out for the count. So I think for that sense, for me, San Gino.
Wavy in Twitch chat is very happy with his result. Jake Bandy, very happy with his result. Titan, the team co-team principal for Alpine Academy, happy for John, happy for his drivers. They have reason to celebrate. And even though Kippu didn't get the result he wanted, he still got P6 in the end, and that's going to help McLaren, who came into today third in the constructors. Ferrari had a stinker with both drivers. Polo God still got points. You also had as well both Red Bulls in the points, but maybe not good enough to extend a championship lead that they maybe needed. This fight is on for the whole thing, George, with McLaren, Red Bull, and Ferrari. Even if Kippu does lose that result.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a very good race.
John giving GGs to JTK. Much respect between the two championship rivals. I mean, we've looked at the last few seasons before we get to interviews, George. We looked at the last few seasons and we've seen some championship battles go down to the wire. Even if it didn't go to the last race, we had some close gaps. Last season with, I believe it was, what was it, JTK and JNT to the second to last race. Before that, Owen and Gecko. It didn't go to the last race, but the gap went down. It was safe to say that was a close season eventually, not at first at all. The three-way fight you were involved with, Owen versus Minions, and you as well, Florian versus Owen. We've had some good championship battles, and it looks like we're going to get another one this season, George.
Yeah, so we've not really got anything else going on currently in terms of championship battles. So it would definitely be nice to see a bit of tension.
Speaking of a bit of tension, I'm sure his intermediate tires maybe had a bit of tension with him. John, congrats on the win first off. Last week you missed due to your wheel being broken, and now you go from 0 to hero, and a good comeback to say the least. You did exactly what you need to get the championship gap down, and maybe on a day as well you weren't the fastest driver either. Take us through the race and your thoughts on it as well, with what you were thinking with the strategy and just everything overall to get this win and the championship gap down, as we said.
I still can't believe
included.
I still can't. Yeah, it's included. I still can't believe that even happened. And VSC came out at like the perfect time, and really, even if that didn't come out, I was gonna go to the end. I had nothing to lose. It's either right. I'm finishing on top 2 or getting a puncture, because I think before that VSC they were like 82%, so they were like in that puncture range. So it's just, yeah, that was very stressful. And then towards the beginning, me and JTK had a very good battle. Like, kind of, a couple times I had to be really careful not to absolutely punt him out of the way, because I think I was a little bit quicker in the wet in some areas. But yeah. And then the whole moment of me losing like 3 seconds is because then I found out I overheated my rears, so I had no grip.
Way.
So that's why I was losing just so much time to the top 2, and I was like, well, and then I got 3 seconds, and it's just like, okay, if I get P3 here, I deserve it because I've done all the wrong things here, and then just I kind of knew like it was gonna take a long time to dry up in this game because it takes longer than previous games, but yeah, I mean, I'm still just in shock that I've somehow gotten a win out of that. Which I will say, like, I know, like, perfect timing, stuff like that, but I'm gonna say that was very lucky for me because I think JTK would have gotten not only within 3 seconds, he probably would have passed me by the last lap because I had zero grip those last couple laps.
Yeah, I mean, it was a race of attrition and mistakes, and you kind of, took one out there. I was going to say the championship gap, I don't know if you're looking too much into that. You guys are 1 and 2, JTK and you. You got it down to 30 points now today with the fastest lap and winning the race and doing maybe something that was not going to be done until the end of the race at all. We've got 4 races remaining after today. I will not be here for Hungary, it looks like, next week. Monaco, I will be, though. And then after that, you got Texas and Brazil. 30 points to gain in these next few races, basically 7.5 kind of in a way per race. You did basically 7.5 today. What are you going to need for that for the remaining 4?
Well, I still want to punch my wheel after last week because that really ticked me off. Yeah, and then like today, I mean, I got a favor, but I mean, I pretty much still need
Happens.
I still have like the smallest chance of winning. I basically need JTK to have a shocker of a race somewhere in these last 4 rounds, but for how consistent he's been, I don't think it'll happen. I mean, anything can happen, but it's just he's been so consistent, like through the whole season.
Can't happen to you though.
Well, it's already happened.
Happened in the first 2 rounds.
It really,
Yeah.
and that doesn't help me either. But like, yeah, I mean, obviously, Hungary, one of my better tracks. Monaco is just Monaco. Like, let's just be honest.
It's a lottery.
Yeah, it literally is. And then the last 2 races. I think Brazil is the last one. I can't remember what
Brazil and Texas, the two.
Okay,
Texas and Brazil.
Texas, I really don't know. And then Brazil is obviously it's gonna have some sort of drama, like it always does.
Well, yeah, once again, congratulations on the win. You pulled off a strategic masterclass, to say the least, and it was a very well done job, even if it was lucky. But, George, do you have any questions for our winner?
I think you covered me, so I'll be honest, Ryan. All the questions I had. Just congrats on the win.
And it will be interesting to see as we head next week into Hungary and the rest of the weekend as well for F2 and F1. We got F2 tomorrow in Qatar, their return there. We spoke about John being a first-time winner in Austria a few rounds ago. Last season in Qatar for F2, we had 2 first-time winners, Crispy and Mythic. We'll see if we get maybe 2 more or even 1 more in tomorrow's event. In Imola, which RPL Titan Iron, the usual co-com, will not be there for. I will be there for Tier 1. Looks like by myself for Imola, which is completely okay. And I'm fine with that. But with Imola tomorrow for F1, we'll see if there's anything that happens there in that race. Maybe a chance of rain like we had today. It always rains a lot in Imola. Rained 2 seasons ago there in Tier 1. And then Tier 3 in Texas for next week and Tier 2 in Hungary. So we're signing off for the night. Ryan Searles, George Alp-Williams. Have a good one. We will see you next time, whether it be for tomorrow for F1 or F2, or even Tier 2 next week with a little bit of change. Either way, have a good night, and we'll see you then.
Goodbye.